You won't believe how much this will transform your business. You see, I set this up so it will work for total beginners or people who have been doing video production for a while. So first of all, my team and I work on amazing projects for brands all over the world. And personally, in the space of 2 years, I sat from working at a desk in my parents' living room to running a full-scale production company. And the journey has been nothing short of amazing. We also have a large community in the Perspective Academy who are doing very well with their videography businesses using a previous version of what I'm going to show you now. And for those of you who watch through until the very end, I'm going to reveal something that I've been working on for a while and I'm extremely excited about. So make sure you watch all the way through, take notes along the way to get the maximum value. Let's go. So let's assume that I'm starting a brand new business. Maybe I work a full-time job and I want to start a videography business, or I have plans of one day owning my own production company because I love creating content. Now, the first thing I'm going to do through this 7-stage process is become a prospect pioneer. I'm going to explore what opportunities are out there. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to start speaking to businesses straight away, even though it's not going to be perfect. Even though I haven't got a website or a business name, I'm just going to make a start. I'm going to do the thing that stops so many filmmakers being successful because they often get stuck trying to make things perfect. I'm not going to wait for the perfect time to launch my business. I'm going to make today that perfect time. Okay, so if you were going to say to me, Ross, I'm new to this is what I want to do, but where do I start? I would say start speaking to businesses. Learn what you like and what you don't like, because that massively changes the type of conversations that we're going to have later on. And remember, perfection is the enemy of good. As filmmakers, we train ourselves to look at the fine details, making sure that every shot is perfect. But that ultimately slows down progress because it takes way longer to learn and it takes way longer to get results. And that is when most people give up. Starting my business, I need to understand what works and what doesn't before I invest loads of time into it. Getting out there and speaking to businesses will help you fail faster. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall and then just working out what sticks. And a great way to do that is to get to a local trade show or networking event, because at the moment, starting my brand new business, I haven't yet learned how to speak to other businesses in the dimension of video production. I haven't yet learned how to discuss pricing, how to close businesses and make those sales. So that's going to be a great opportunity for me to learn about what they want. If they've used videographers before, and if they have, then that's great. You can ask them about what they liked about using them and what they didn't like about those companies. And we're going to use this later on to build from it so that I can make better connections and I've got more chances of success. Now, in the background throughout this phase, I'm also going to be building out my portfolio, because through conversations that I'm going to be having with businesses, I know that people are going to want to see some examples of my work. So at this point, I'm willing to do some free work so that I can use that later on. And I'm also going to ask if they can give me some testimonials so that people can see that I'm credible when I get round to marketing my business. At this initial stage, I'm also just going to work on developing my skills and getting outside of my comfort zone and realizing that things won't just come to me. I need to go out there and get it. This phase is a real mindset shift from an employee to a business owner, where the responsibility and the accountability is on me to make it happen. And I know that in order to make my new business idea successful, I need to become a better version of myself. And it's going to feel uncomfortable, but that's fine, because this journey is going to be totally worth it. What I'm going to do once I've broken down those barriers and got over the initial hurdle of getting started is move on to building out my strategic framework. This is about getting super clear on what you're setting out to do, who your ideal customer is, what industries you want to focus on, and things like that. At this point, I'm gonna actually make sure that I can make some good money and these clients will want to work with me before I put the time into these later phases. I'm gonna test the industry and see where I fit in. And that's when I'll be able to see what's happening and I can make a certified roadmap and make sure that the direction of my business is good for me. Because if I don't do this, then I'm gonna waste so much time in the later phases. Plus, I want to build a business that works for me and does what I want. So at this stage, it's very much about nailing that and getting clients that fit perfectly with what you want to set out and achieve. Okay, so I'm going to spend some time creating my company vision, which is your reason for existing, aka what is the big picture. And I'm going to try and refine this down to a sentence so that it's understandable by everyone that I speak to. People will then know exactly why I exist. And ultimately, they're going to be able to see the vision that I have and join me on that journey. And that's really important. Next, I'm going to expand on that vision by creating what's called my mission. So this is how I'm actually going to accomplish that vision that I've got. I'm going to list out all of my objectives so that I can track my progress and keep myself accountable. But before I do either of those, I first need to develop an ICP, which is my ideal customer persona. Everything, all the information that we do comes from the importance of understanding this. And based on the conversations that I've been having so far, I've now got a pretty good idea of what industries I want my niche to be in and what challenges that they are currently facing. I've also figured out who I need to speak to, and I can now write that down on a piece of paper or in a document so that it's clear exactly what my ideal customer looks like. Finally, my strategic framework is not going to be complete without doing some competition analysis. I'm going to look at everyone who could be a potential competitor and also those production companies that I aspire to be like one day. And I'm going to note down everything about them, from their pricing and their packages to the language that they're using on their website and social media channels. Because if I do this, I'm going to have a really defined direction, which makes it easier to know what step to take next in my business. And also it enables other businesses to know what I'm about much quicker and resonate with it much better. And they'll be able to say, Ross, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So let's now talk about step 3. This is the foundation that's going to make these future stages work. And if I get this wrong, I'm going to struggle through the rest of this as well. And you see this happen a lot where people skip ahead because they're too eager to get to these later points. And maybe that's you, which is fine because we're going to go back and fix those problems now and overcome those challenges. And that's why it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you've been going a while, because you might need to review some of these initial stages and fix a few things along the way to make sure that everything else works in your business and you can grow further. That all makes sense, right? So the other thing I'm going to make sure that I do really well is work on my core business skill set. I understand that creativity alone won't get me to where I want to be. And if I want a career doing what I love, creating a sustainable business model that generates a healthy amount of profit, or I want to continue growing my business for years to come, then I need to work on my business skill set. So I'm going to send out at least 50 emails in my first week of being at this stage of the process. And then I'm going to analyze what comes back. What kind of replies am I getting? I'm also going to call at least 50 businesses and analyze what gets said in those conversations too. At this point, we're not actually selling. We're just researching what works so that we can scale this up in the later stages. Again, most people fall down at this point because they rush into using some of the AI tools that are out there and they start to automate this process and they send thousands of emails, but the emails just simply don't work because they haven't developed all of their core business skills that you're going to be working on now. And by now, I've got much better at talking to businesses, but I still need to work on how to sell to those businesses and get them to believe in me and that my business is the right fit for them. At this stage, I'm also gonna get a proper email address, so something like ross@businessname.com, and I'm gonna start creating my website because I've now got a great idea of who I want to attract and the things that I need to say to connect with them. And I'm gonna do that along with some social media pages too, so I can start building out a bit of my brand image. So what exactly do I need to work on in stage 3? Well, I want to get really good at analyzing things and listening. So I know exactly how I can help potential customers hit their goals, because that's what it all comes down to, is our ability to enable them to hit their goals. And in turn, that's going to mean that we hit our goals too. I also want to know how to effectively communicate and sell to businesses. At this stage of the process, I've had a bit of practice, and by now things are much better than when I initially started, but perhaps I still need to work on my confidence and how I articulate things, especially when it comes to talking about payments and pricing, and also being able to actually successfully close the deal. Having all of this information will mean that I can then plug AI into my business to help me automate the process at the later stages and actually get some results. Because AI is only as smart as the person who is putting in the commands. And lots of people go wrong there because they don't understand it's the framework that we're building that actually enables you to achieve success. So to hook businesses in, I'm going to be using a framework called AIDA, and I'm also going to be using risk reversal. Because I'm just starting out, risk reversal is going to give me the opportunity to make more sales, and basically to give them an offer that takes that risk away from them. If I don't have much of a portfolio by this point, then I might come up with an offer that makes up for that, because the client isn't going to want to spend $1,000 on a video from a random person with no portfolio or track record. So I need to think of an idea that will make it a no-brainer for that client to pick me over someone else who perhaps has more experience. And that's where I'm going to bring in risk reversal. Something that's going to be key for me at this stage of the process is using the AIDA framework. Now, AIDA stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. And all of my emails and my phone calls are going to be based around this in order for it to work successfully. I want to instantly grab their attention and pull them away from what they're doing. And I want to generate then some interest about what it is that I can offer them and how I can help them. I'm then going to make them want to use me and actually create some desire by showing them some case studies or even getting them to see how their competitors are effectively using video and how that they're falling behind because they're not currently implementing anything like that. And finally, I'm gonna end the call or end off the email with our call to action. I'm gonna get them to move on to the next stage of the process by using that and actually asking them or telling them what to do next. And all I've done here is simply use that AIDA formula to take them through this journey in the space of a phone call or an email to develop the framework to actually get results and get action. You see, the sales process works like this, and you need to have a process for it to be successful. And for you, that might just be 3 simple steps. Let's say step 1 is emailing a business or DMing them or cold calling them. And all you want to do in that process is just get them onto a video call with you, which will then move them through to step 2 of your sales process. And step 2 is the video call itself, where you can then show them examples of your work and really increase the perceived value of your services by showing them what's possible. And stage 3 could be something like asking them for the sale. And that's simply done by just saying, are you happy to move forward with this? Are you happy for us to book in a date? But a lot like a bowling lane, when you have conversations with potential clients, it's very easy to get pulled off track and you end up talking about everything other than moving them on to that next stage of your sales process. So it's your job, and at this point in the process, it's going to be my job to keep bringing them back to this process. A lot like the bowling alley, you have the side bumpers that come up. It stops the conversation. It stops the ball from going too far afield, where it makes it really difficult to get them back to make that sale. So developing this process is going to give me a really strategic advantage to make sure I can close that deal. And the final thing that I'm going to make sure I absolutely nail at this stage is adapting this to each person that I speak with. Because the better you are at that, the more sales you're going to be able to make. Because so many people have different types of buying habits. So we need to adapt the way we're talking, the terminology we're using, and our process ever so slightly while still keeping them on track to make sure we have the best chance of connecting with them and making that sale. For example, if someone just wants to know the numbers and you're trying to tell them why videos are a great investment and avoiding the conversation about price, then you're just going to lose the sale because you should have gotten to the point a lot quicker. If you jump straight in with the price, but the person needs validation as part of their buying habit, then you'll also lose the sale because you should have been showing them what's been working for other businesses and how you solve those problems rather than just jumping in and scaring them off by revealing the price at the start. So by getting really good at identifying these things is going to mean that I make a lot more sales and I have more opportunities with a diverse amount of people. This is the consistent revenue phase. So up until now, we've been getting really good at understanding what businesses are looking for, how we can then provide a solution to their problems, building out a framework that our company is going to operate by. And we've confirmed that yes, indeed, there is money to be made in this market. And yes, these businesses want what I've got, because there's absolutely no point in trying to sell something to a business or an industry that isn't interested in what you've got to sell. And that has been the prep work for our success and built the solid foundations, and it's now go time. We now need to make the transition from a business idea to a certified full-time videography business that your potential customers look at and they recognize and they want to work with you and not just think that you're a hobbyist with a camera having fun at the weekends. Because at this point, we're trying to figure out, how do I go from working a job to doing this full-time? Now, most people spend the longest at this stage trying to work out, how do I grow this while working a job? And how do I get businesses paying me regularly so that I can quit my job? Or how do I get businesses to keep using me and not go into someone else who's been doing it for a lot longer than I have? Now, because success here comes from external factors, I need as many opportunities to speak with my ideal clients as possible, because sales is a numbers game. And although our preparation is going to give us the best chance of success, I want to make sure that I increase those odds as much as I can. One of the first things I'm going to do is fill my funnel with loads of leads. So that's email addresses, phone numbers, website links, and social media pages, so that I have all the information to hand. I want to make sure that I've got at least 3,000 leads, 3,000 potential customers to speak to before I even start, so that I've got the next 3 months figured out. And to do that, I'm going to use AI tools like Phantom Buster and D7 Lead Finder to make this process so much easier. And it's going to save me hours of work. I'm also going to plug those leads and the emails that I've been testing into an AI tool called Lemlist. That's going to help me automate the sending of my emails and also following up with people who don't reply. And I'm going to be sending out about 1,000 emails a month. And I'm also going to be calling up and DMing these businesses to give me a full 360-degree approach to make sure my message is seen. And that's why it's really important that we use AI to help us speed up some of that process. I also want to get good at identifying the things that I'm really good at and the areas that would actually be much better to outsource, to start to free up my time and get better results, because I understand that I can't be good at everything. Because one of the most important things that I can do at this point is to build a business model that doesn't rely solely on me doing everything, running every aspect of my business. Otherwise, in the later stages, I'm going to struggle again. Now, most people try and do everything themselves without paying for software or paying for mentors to help them get from point A to point B in their business a lot quicker. And you don't want to do that. So it's important that we get this right and start thinking about who or what can help us get better results and save us time, because time is money. Consistent revenue is the padlock that you need to unlock to make this scalable and do this full time, which is why it's really important at this stage in my business that I focus on the RCP, recurring revenue or retainer model, because it's going to give me the stability I need to do this full time. Having a guaranteed income every single month, so I don't need to worry about when or where that next job is coming from. It will stop me having low points in my business and provide me with that consistency, which is when I know I can do this full time. Unfortunately, although I can talk about this topic for an hour, I don't have time in this video to break it down, but I'll leave a link to our free training in the description below, or you can join us on one of our free live interactive workshops where we'll be giving you the tactics and the sales scripts for everything that we cover today. And we also show you how we close high-ticket clients and get them paying us every single month so that we have a guaranteed income that builds stability and makes it easy to grow a profitable videography business. I'll leave those links below, so make sure you check those out. So this is where things get really exciting for most videographers, because now we have a tried and tested business model that works. I can't stress this enough. People often only do a few of these stages and they skip some things because they're too eager and impatient. But until you have a business model that you know works, because you've worked through these stages from speaking to prospects, developing a strategic framework, making sure your core business skills are on point, and started to create some consistent revenue, only then can you move on and have higher chances of success. And it's exciting because you now know that it works. Now we are going to take it and we're going to scale it and work out how to get paid more and get some of these bigger projects. It's normally at this stage that people are able to make a living from filmmaking because they're making a few $1,000s a month. At this stage, I'm going to make better decisions on set about what works and what doesn't, so I can confidently guide the customer to achieve the best result. I'm also going to make better decisions about the editing process and make sure that we're using the latest tools to deliver the best quality. I'm going to focus on the type of videos that are most popular with my clients already, because we know that's an easy sell. And I'm going to increase the quality of those videos so that my new prices are in line with the value that they see. Because at the end of the day, before I land a 10K project, I first need to show them that I'm capable of producing a project that looks like it's worth that. We understand at this point that aiming for 100% perfection on every project is bad for progression, but now we have the ability to pick and choose what projects we want to aim for perfection on, because they are the showreel or case study pieces, and they're not the projects that just don't require that extra level of time and input that ultimately the clients aren't paying for. I'm going to focus on managing my client expectations, which is extremely important for long-term relationships. And I'm also positioning me and my company as the experts in the field. And if something doesn't work, I'm going to research it and invest in my knowledge, whether that's online courses, free workshops, or mentors, because I understand that being stuck in any point of business is costly. At this stage in the process, I'm also going to implement a system or process that every project that comes into my business, that comes through those doors, passes through, so that we are efficient and we deliver quality work from the sales process right the way through to signing them onto recurring revenue systems. And I'm going to really start leveraging AI. And you might have used some AI prior to this, but now we can really start leveraging it to skyrocket my growth. In case you haven't realized by now, on this channel, we love to provide immense value and give more away for free than most people would have you pay for. And the only thing I would ask for you to do right now is press that subscribe button. It does more for us than you'll know, and it enables us to keep producing videos like this and giving back to the community. So if you're not already, I'd really appreciate you pressing that subscribe button if you've got any value out of this video. Now let's get back to it. So in this step, we are still doing and revisiting everything from the earlier phases. So we're speaking to businesses, we're making sure that we're still aligned with our brand vision, following that strategic framework, continuing to develop and invest into our own skill sets, and making sure that our AI tools are getting us the results that we're looking for. And we're now starting to create some consistent revenue by signing businesses onto our recurring revenue model. But now we need to increase our revenue streams, because at the moment, I'm not maximizing the opportunities available to me. We've become focused on just selling videos, and that will only take us so far. And there's actually a saying that I love, and that's what got you here won't get you there. So I'm starting to notice that in our business, we're starting to plateau, and we need to jump up to that next level and continue growing. And because of everything that we've done so far and keep revisiting, my business will now be ready and in a better state to be able to accommodate new revenue streams. Okay. So at this point, our business has grown. And as a result, we now have more things, more opportunities, and more paths that we can take to grow even more. But I'm only going to focus on doing a few of those things really well and not try and do everything and take every opportunity and try every new strategy to grow. Because when you change everything all the time, it's really hard to know what's working and what isn't. At this point, we need to refine all of the cogs that make our business work so that we can get the maximum horsepower out of the engine. And that starts with building out our service offering. I need to expand my services beyond basic video production and consider offering additional services like detailed post-production, sound design, animation, script writing, or full-scale campaign creation. So things like video production strategy, social media marketing services, so you can create even more opportunities, increase your revenue, and ultimately solve more problems and challenges that your clients are currently facing, meaning that you become more valuable. I mean, there's nothing worse than creating a video for a client for them just to post it at a random time of day. So why not support them with that at a cost so everyone can benefit from the best results? At this phase, I'm going to start to niche down even more and retarget to secure contracts with larger businesses who require more extensive and higher budget video projects. And I'm also going to need to optimize my pricing strategies. So I'm going to review my pricing structure structure and adjust it to reflect the increased value that we now offer, and add some value-based pricing models for different clients so that we have something for everyone. I'm certainly gonna focus on delivering exceptional quality to justify the increased rates, and this works twofold because the better content will elevate my marketing and my website and my social media pages and help us to attract even more higher profile projects. Now, most people at this stage can still struggle when it comes to talking about prices, and I don't want to do that. So I want to get better at taking payments using software like Go Cardless so that I can make sure I get paid on time every time, and get better at talking more openly about pricing and not being scared that I might be too expensive. The person with the least to lose in a sales conversation is the person who has all of the power. So I don't want to come across as desperate, and I understand that price tells a story, and I believe in the value that I now deliver. By doing this, I'm going to see my revenue increase more than I had ever imagined, and because of the foundations that we've built, we already have the best chances of success. At this point, what you're doing is really repositioning yourself as a full-service production company and not just a freelancer or small videography business. This is where we want to consistently win those big clients. And by this point, your reputation will often precede you. People will see the value in what you're doing, and the sales process is so much easier because people can actually see that. And it's starting to attract more customers and referrals to your business. But we are aware that there is less work at this level because our prices are much higher, and therefore we need to be very strategic in our approach. This level sets us up for mass growth and will be the new foundation for things moving forward to make sure that we can achieve those higher levels of business. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to need some help, and the first part of this process is I'm going to seek out some strategic partnerships. These are going to be agencies who complement my services and don't currently offer what I've got to offer. And then as a result, I'm going to get access to their client base, because these strategic partnerships can lead to more significant projects and higher revenues. The next thing I'm going to do is build out my team, because now I have a clear revenue stream and a business model. I can afford to free up my time and start to replace myself in my own business, because that will ultimately give me financial and time freedom down the line. I'm going to hire skilled professionals to meet my increased demand without compromising on the quality, because ultimately that's our reputation. The next thing I'm going to do is get really good at increasing my capacity for bigger projects, streamlining workflows and investing in technology or tools that enhance efficiency to handle higher volume of projects, making sure we keep on top of everything and we're not losing time and therefore money by handling multiple big projects. This is something that in the real world with my business was something that I didn't understand the importance of until I actually implemented it, and it made such a difference. We could do more and we could make more with the same time and expense that we already had. In most cases, when I get to this point, people will be coming to me for my services, which makes the sales process easier, means bigger budgets, etc., because we've built a track record. We've gained authority and we've built credibility in the industry. So to top this off, I'll need to intensify my marketing efforts to make sure people know exactly who we are and take more of that market share, which will also help elevate our company's visibility. The thing is, there's a lot that goes into each one of these phases, as I'm sure that you can imagine. And I'm sure that you've got loads of questions. Ross, what about this in stage 2? Or Ross, how about this in stage 5 or 6? So here's the thing. I created a mentoring platform to take you through this step by step. I've broken these strategies down into bite-sized videos so that you can learn the tactics to make this work. This video has been about building the framework through these stages and what stages that you need to go through in order to achieve success. And our platform shows you exactly how to execute this at any stage of business. From a complete beginner to someone that's been trying to make this work for a few years and just wants to add a recurring revenue model to their business to give you that stability. Because it's easy to create profit when you're not always wondering when or where that next job is coming from. The platform has over 100 videos on how to actually execute and troubleshoot each area of your business. So that's sales, marketing, processes, systems, accounts, hiring people, and so much more. And you can imagine that today we've gone over just a few things in comparison to all of the areas of business that are needed to excel. Currently, we have over 500 members, with a third of those members being from the UK, a third of them from the US, and a third that make up the rest of the world. This really is a mentoring platform like no other, dedicated to helping filmmakers like you get to that next level of business quicker than doing it alone. And it's something that I am immensely proud of. If all it did was give you direction and all the answers in one place, it would totally be worth your time. So if you want to check it out, then here it is. Visit perspectiveacademy.com and I'll link it below. Oh, and because you're supporting the channel already, I'm even giving you a 60% off code for the first 20 people. So I want to show you exactly what this looks like so you can see how this process works through the stages that we've gone through today. We've got modules that take you through this journey so that you can have a roadmap for each stage of your business. Today has been about the things that you need to do, and this is about how to actually do it, just as I've described it, but in way more detail. For example, if you're someone that's just starting out or maybe finds it hard to break down those internal barriers to get things going or to get outside your comfort zone, and which is, by the way, the number one thing that holds most filmmakers back, is not breaking down those internal barriers and just being able to get out there. Then in topic 1 of this program, I'll give you some key strategies for your mindset and help develop that roadmap for your future. Or if you've been going for a few years, but you feel a bit stuck or progress is slow, then just like stage 2 and 3 on this video, topic 2 is all about starting and enhancing your business, giving you clarity on what's not working and troubleshooting it to help you avoid those pitfalls and keep moving forward. The goal here is to have a full-time income through filmmaking, right? Having a business that gives you the things that you want. So sales is going to be a huge part of that growth, which is why I've actually spread this across 3 sections in our academy so that it's really easy to follow and understand so that you know what to say, who to target, how to use different platforms, and ultimately close high-paying clients. This is all powerful stuff if you want a successful business and you don't need to have any prior experience. Now, of course, no one can guarantee success. Running any business, there is a risk that it might not work out. And what this program does is it helps you to avoid those setbacks and the problems that you don't even know that you're going to face yet, as well as show you how to build the skills to overcome them when they do arise. Because trust me, there will be some bumps in the road and they can be costly. And often people can be stuck at a bump in the road for a while. So the idea here is to give you the tools to overcome those problems quickly. We've then got modules on project management and efficiency, advertising strategies, and how we develop a business model for continued growth. Just like everything we've gone through today, just in way more detail. Now for me, I wanted to have the best community with the best members. So to make the academy even better, we've added on loads of other extra perks. So we now include our business documents package with over 70 downloads, which saves you so much time and money trying to figure this stuff out and find these documents yourself. These are sales scripts, contracts for retainer clients, employment documents, risk assessments, workflows, and processes. Everything I use in my business right now. And this has taken me hours to develop each of these documents, and there's 70 for these for you to access right away. Most of the time, it's really hard to build a business on your own. It can be lonely, and I'm sure you know what I mean. And not being sure who to ask for help or who to run your ideas by, that is actually qualified to give you advice, not your parents or your friends who don't have a videography business. Which is exactly why we include our premium members community. This is where we pass around work, collaborate on projects, and surround ourselves with like-minded people from all over the world. People that, if I have a challenge or a problem that I face in my business, can help me get through it because it's something that they've experienced too, and they can share that information with me so that I don't have to make the same mistakes or be stuck at the bump in the road for longer than I need to. And finally, I like to think I've saved the best for last, and that's our live Q&A sessions with me. You're gonna have some questions and some things that you get stuck on whilst you're on this journey. And even though the community is super collaborative, sometimes people just wanna come straight to me and ask those questions that are holding them back. So on these calls, we do sales role plays, we do troubleshooting, and deep dive into the challenges that you need to overcome right now. The way I see it, and as many of you know, I've spent a lot of time helping people start and grow their videography businesses. Hundreds of people in our academy are already signing people up onto recurring revenue contracts, and I also spend time personally investing and mentoring businesses to unlock that next stage of growth. And if there's anything that leads to businesses' success the most, it's this. It's having leads, sales, and then the RCP model. These things will always lead to success when they're combined together, and people fall seamlessly through this funnel. Now, you might have been doing one or two of these things well for a long time, but it doesn't matter. If you haven't been doing this one, for example, it wouldn't work. And these are also broken down into so many more stages. Sales are the broad term we use for this section. And it's about making sure as many people that come into the top exit out the bottom and provide you with a solid plan with the RCP system. Now, the second thing I want to give you when you join us today on the link below is our business marketing course. This is where you can then learn how to market your business and, more importantly, your clients' businesses so that you can make even more upsells and further grow your revenue. Earlier on, we were talking about revenue streams in order to grow, and this is that opportunity. So many people in our academy now offer social media services as a result of this. So when you're next doing a $2,000 video production project, you can now sell the management and implementation for an additional $1 to $2 grand, meaning that you now become a one-stop solution for your clients, which is what they want, right? All of their problems solved in one place. So not only can you use this program to market your own business, but you can also benefit from increased revenue by offering additional services. And finally, you're going to need a lot of leads, right? We've already established that in order for you to grow. So I'm going to include our ultimate leads formula, because before you can get a client paying you, you need to get a meeting with them. And before you get a meeting with them, you're going to need thousands of leads at your disposal. This program will show you 5 or 6 different ways to populate thousands of leads in seconds and different methods that will work for different niches. So you'll be getting access to both of those programs too. Now I wonder, do you think that this would save you time by having everything in one place? Or at least speed up the process of growing your business? Or maybe do you think that by having access to all of this would help you get at least one extra client? There are really 2 options. Option 1 is that you decide to do it yourself. And if that's you, that's totally fine. And I really honestly wish you every success, because it's hard. And the main issue with that approach is that most advice is disjointed. So you have to search in so many different places to find the answers to the challenges you're facing. You kind of have to find all the pieces to that puzzle before you can make an informed decision of what way to move forward. Now, you obviously can guess, but I wouldn't recommend guessing in your business what route to take. And for most people, it's often like a yo-yo diet. They grow, they stop growing, they grow, they plateau, and they stop growing. And real success comes from consistency and accountability, which is what this provides. Or you've got option 2, which is let me help you. Now, I'm obviously biased to this because I see people who use our program and I see people who don't. And the difference in the time it takes and the outcome is very different. There isn't just one way to grow a business. And thanks to members of our academy, we talk about this a lot in our community and on our Q&A sessions. And people are happy to share their findings, what's working, what's not working, how they've overcome it. And that is also applicable to different countries and parts of the world. And it's really helpful because the advice for a 2K a month business versus a 10K a month versus a 50K a month business is gonna be really different. And I'm grateful to our members because we have people at all levels of business inside our academy that are willing to support each other so that we can all progress quicker, avoid the mistakes that we don't even know we're gonna make yet, and get to our goals quicker than doing it alone and trying to figure it out the long way. If you want some stories of people who have been successful with our program, then it's on the perspectiveacademy.com website, so go and check that out now.